People, Deluded, I'm back again. I hope you're all well and safe and doing as well as you can given the circumstances that surround us globally. Moving away from that, from an Arsenal perspective, there's some transfer rumours and it's all we've got really. I'll probably drop a video on it. I've actually been going back and watching all of Arteta's, trying to watch Arteta's games in charge of Arsenal and seeing if I can find any more themes. You lot know me when it comes to scouting and all these other vids. I'll do what I can. But really, in relation to Arsenal or whatever team you support in terms of first team football, we've got nothing, man. It's for another vid, but you're all seeing with the Premier League, we're still delaying and playing the waiting game. There's nothing more to be said other than these nonsense transfer rumours, which 98% of them don't amount to anything. Let's start off with, yeah, man. And again, these things could happen and you could have humble pie, but we all know it's nonsense. Moving away from all of that though, Marca, Spanish-based publication, have claimed Arsenal are the favourites to sign James Rodriquez or James Rodriquez. Apparently the player wasn't initially interested in a move to England, but that has now changed after a lack of interest from Italy and other Spanish clubs. And his career's been in a bit of, turmoil for a minute, man. I remember I thought he was going to be a global star at some point. Not world class or nothing, but I definitely felt he was. And he's a baller. I'm pretty sure he's won Champions League with Real Madrid. I could be wrong. And he's had, he's done things for his country. He's been a good footballer. But I definitely thought he was going to be, to a degree, not like for like Di Maria. But you see how Di Maria, you got the Di Marias. You have previously Mesut Ozil in his prime. Different players, but the Modrics, I would have thought he would have been, when you mention certain man, his name would have been there. And I do think James is going to be one of them great ballers you just don't remember. You'd be like, oh yeah, the Colombian guy. But either way, we know he's a baller. If it's just on technical qualities, he can hit a shot from range. Excellent set piece and free kick delivery. He's a top player. It's just not going to happen, is it? It's a rumour that we see all the time. It used to be United. If it's not us, it's United. And his career's been a bit in turmoil. He's had the Munich loan. He's gone back to Madrid. Actually don't know where he's at now or anything in terms of playing time. And it wouldn't make sense for us to go for him. Of course, just on ability, of course it would make sense. He's only made 7 appearances in La Liga, people, which is quite mad for someone of his stature. He's 28 as well. I do think I would love him at the club, really, if it was just on being a baller, because he's got the technical qualities. He'll make a difference. He can play as a cam. He can play on either flanks. Yeah, he's an exciting footballer, but it just won't make sense. He's been subjected to 13 appearances, and there's a number of players, including the guy Dani Ceballos, that's on loan with us now, that's futures are up in there. Again, when you consider that we've worked with Real Madrid before and stuff like that, and in terms of the Ceballos move and whatnot, I suppose you can make it feasible that we could get him on loan or something like that, if could be, or for a decent fee. But I don't think it makes sense away from him just being a baller, because he's 28. You're going to have to give him top wages. Or if Arsenal don't want to do that, if I'm his agent or if you're any advisor, you're trying to get him them Real Madrid wages or more. He's 28. You'd like to think there's not a big move left in him. And, he's played for some big clubs. He's played for Porto. He's played for his country. He plays for Madrid. When he went to Monaco, people tell me that weren't a money thing. And you can't begrudge him for that. Falcao did it as well. Monaco have changed their model, but at a point they were buying ballers, trying to buy ballers. And obviously Monte Carlo, I think the tax laws, forgive me if I'm wrong, are a bit more nicer and kinder and whatnot, people. So yeah, man, I can see why it's happening. But apart from that, I don't think James is coming here. When does his contract at Real Madrid finish? Because Transfermarkt is just saying he's contracted until, is it 2021? James Rodriquez contract. Why is it not? Apologies, people. He's got 22 goals in 76 appearances, people, for thingy. That's quite good. Can't lie. That's amazing for a country. So apparently, TalkSport is saying, I don't know his contract length, people, but apparently his contract ends in 2020. I don't know if there's an option for another year, which if I was Real Madrid when I bought him, thinking he was going to be this star, potentially would have looked to have got that into his deal. But if he's contracted until 2020, again, that would just strengthen my case from his agent and his perspective to go and get a bigger move. we've tried to get him from he was a teenager, allegedly, and it just hasn't happened. This is a man who, at one point was playing in the Under-20s World Cup when I was in school in 2011. I'm so sure he's played at Toulon. Yeah, I'm not finding anything, people. But you never know. At the end of the day, he's had a great career. He's played for his country. He's won a number of... He's shone at a World Cup. He's won Europa League and Champions League and the Super Cup and the World Club Cup. He's won stuff at Munich. So on paper, he's had a great career. The money thing. Now, you've seen him linked with Wolves. You've seen him linked with us. There's always the typical destinations. Again, bearing in mind what's going on globally. But you've got the Chinas and other destinations. Who knows? Maybe he wants to return to... Well, maybe he wants to stay in Spain. Can't imagine where you would go. Sure, I guess you could join their rivals Atletico. But are you an Atletico Madrid sort of player to thrive in that system? I guess there's the Sevillas and the Valencias. Again, it all depends on his contract. In Italy, of course, I'd want to play in Italy. If AC Milan and Inter, despite the fact they've fallen off, offer you something. If Juventus offer you something to be in the squad in some capacity, you'd wanna take it, people. You can't begrudge him for that. Obviously, I'm sure he's going out with Ospina's sister as well. So Ospina, if you want to be an agent for the club, go and do that and put a good word in. In terms of quality, I'd all be for him, people. But he's 28. He's going to want a big move. He's going to want big money. You can't imagine it with Aubameyang. On paper, we should be still trying to get him signed to that deal. So you've got him. Ozil might move, but you've got Mesut Ozil. You've obviously got what's-his-face as well, Mkhitaryan. They've got 2 years to run, but you've got Kolasinac, who's on 100 bags a week. You've got Lacazette on a fairly healthy outlay as well. Add this guy's wages on top. I don't think he could command... Ozil's wages, whether Ozil deserves that or not. But you'd imagine he'd want to be top 3-4 earners, to come to Arsenal. So we'll see how that one develops, people. It's probably just nonsense. But moving away from that, though, we've been linked with Woodman. Woodman from Newcastle on loan at Swansea. Freddie Woodman, the son of Andy Woodman. Sorry, I can't even say this guy's name, man. Woodman. Sorry, but. Yeah, as you lot know, his dad's obviously a coach at Arsenal. He's been at a number of other clubs as well, goalkeeping coach. This is someone we've had our eyes on for a while, since he was under-17s England and under-20 World Cup winner. He's now 23. He's on loan playing in Swansea, playing regular football. And, beyond the fact of it might be, he's contracted until 2021, I believe. We're a better club than Newcastle in terms of we're poor right now, but there's Champions League and... I wish Champions League, Europa League and things. I can't see it happening. The only reason I could see it is that obviously his dad's here, a return to London, obviously the whole Arsenal Europa League and whatnot. They're the only clutching at straws I can think. It doesn't make sense because this is a man who, sadly, whether for want or not, because I believe he can cut his teeth somewhere, was third choice at Newcastle. He's gone to Swansea where, they've played Brewster, they've played him, they've played Gallagher. Young players are getting opportunities at Swansea and he's got his confidence and, ultimately wants to play games. He's still young for a goalie at 23, but you don't want to, there's no substitute for playing football. You can travel with the squad all you want. Keepers are a bit different on the subs bench because you're not coming on unless a madness happens or sadly there's an injury. You're not really coming on. So you're just, there to make up the numbers. And he's been doing that since 18, 19, I'm sure, people. And at 23, he's got a taste of first team football, regular basis. Why would you want to give that up? Probably makes sense to stay at Swansea longer or try and, because Dubravka's been a bit dodgy this season when I'm looking at him at times, try and cut your teeth at Newcastle and assert yourself in the Premier League. It would have made sense to come to Arsenal as much as I wouldn't mind him because Leno's here for the foreseeable future. You've obviously got Martinez. I think he's better than Martinez, but you've got Martinez. And then you've got a bag of other goalies that are typically third choice. You've got Ilev on loan in Poland. You've got Matt Macy. Sadly, because he's had surgery and some stuff I want to talk about, you've got Arthur Okonkwo as well. And I'm missing out a bag of keepers up and around and under 23s and 18s. There's just too many on the books. So you don't want to become the one of many. Again, it's almost a sideways step because, ironically, I think he could be second choice at Arsenal and allegedly he's third choice at Newcastle. So that might be a small step. But what's the point? He might as well go on loan again at Swansea or another team, play well, don't sign any contract at Newcastle because that will put pressure on teams. Because, if you're contracted until 2021, I'm not watching a man religiously for Swansea, but he's been putting in fairly decent performances. You do that, teams in the Prem or other teams might say, yo, let's go for him. And then you force Newcastle's hand because you're playing well, you've got a year or so to run in your deal. So I don't really see it making sense unless he wants to return to London and, you know, the opportunity to train day in, day out with his father, which must be pretty cool. I can't see that one day happening. But he's a decent keeper and I hope he keeps developing. He's 23 now. He's actually offered some general thoughts, people, that I've found just by looking online before making this vid, trying to do little research and better with what I come with for you lot. But he said, on being patient at Newcastle, I feel like I've done the bench role for a long time. I've been on the bench since I was 17. I'm 20 now, and he's now 23, people. I'm 20 now, and it's been a long time. Since Saturday, every game I'm on the bench, I'm ready to play. I've just got to continue doing that. I had to keep my head down these 6 months. It's been tough not playing. I've just kept my head down and got on with things. I've got in the gym and done extra sessions, really pushed myself. I knew that I'd be called upon anytime. I've got to keep doing that and keep training under this manager and hopefully get more opportunities. I'm taking it day by day. I'm just buzzing to be at this club training every day. And this was obviously years ago, people, I believe. Oh no, sorry, people, this is now. This is actually now. So why did it say he's 20? Why does typing in his name say he's 23? Woodman, Freddie Woodman. Come on, Freddie. Yeah, you're 23. Born in 97. Does that make you 23? It must do. I don't know, people. But it says you're 23. And he said there I'm 20. But I don't know, people. I think that was old comments. I'm confusing myself. But either way, he said that. So regardless of when it was said, quantify what I've just read out to you, his age and the points I've made previously. Does coming to Arsenal make much sense despite the prestige of the club? You know, moving back to London, closer to his family, working day in, day out with his father. It makes no sense. So yeah, man, and big up Swansea because they're actually doing quite well with the young players, in my opinion. And they've got a centre half, mixed race lad. He looks decent. He's a bit error prone, but he looks like he could come good. So there's that. Moving away from all of that one there, people, though, and I believe we've got some other reports according to Blind, where when I did some further research, there's probably no substance to this, but apparently Arsenal are no longer interested in Dayot Upamecano as they're unwilling to meet Leipzig's demands. Now, the credibility of this statement has been questioned just by looking online, and it don't actually look like it came from Blind, but the article said according to Blind. And, you know, beyond the, you know, negotiating tactics, I guess clubs are trying to force Leipzig's hands, because if the player wants to leave, you know, he's got a release clause. There's not long to go on his deal, and he has no intention of renewing it. Forcing their hands, really, because you'll be stuck with an asset. I guess you could use him for a year, but you'd have to see what happens. Apparently, a journalist of the Daily Star, people, said Arteta will consider a loan deal for Real Madrid ace Luka Jovic. Now, he hasn't had the best of times at Real Madrid. In fact, I don't want to say he's breached protocols, but he's getting a lot of stick in his homeland and everywhere else because he returned to Serbia. In fact, his dad even said, as a result of this, if he has to go jail, he has to go jail. He's a young and naive lad. You know, he banged mad goals at Frankfurt. You cannot begrudge him for going to Madrid. But typically it's the case, even for players like Griezmann, Coutinho, you know, players that are in their peak power struggle at these clubs sometimes. So I honestly believe to give yourself half a chance, you've got to go there when you're the finished product. And he had a banging season at Frankfurt. Yeah, Real Madrid look like they're changing their model with youth players, and I can't begrudge him for leaving. But, you know, the consistency levels and all of these things, and just beyond playing football, is another level at Madrid, people. As you lot know, it's a different spectrum. So naturally, he struggled. Maybe he's not shown Zidane what he wants to see, because Zidane don't even care if you're Gareth Bale. If he wants to play who he wants to play. So that's firmly an L. If Arteta does want him, apparently he sees him as a different player to Lacazette, who can confidently lead the line as a traditional target man. So does that mean we're going to sell Aubameyang and get Jovic on loan? Does that mean we're going to keep Aubameyang and try and get Jovic on loan and get rid of Lacazette? Does this mean, you know, we're going to give Aubameyang and get some money and this guy on loan? I don't know. I'm just purely speculating, people. I would take him. I think he's got ice cold blood in his veins. I think he is a great player. I think he needs to rediscover how good he is, sort of thing. We've been linked with Beidou as well, who I've continuously made videos about. I think he's got potential one day to step up a level. Both of these players might struggle initially, but we have to take a chance. It doesn't matter if it's these two, Dembele, the Celtic lad. You know, we're probably not able to afford them top bracket players, people. So we have to take a chance on a striker who's he's not quite there yet. He's not quite gone to the Aubameyang levels, and it's a bit different. But before Aubameyang was this Aubameyang, you know, Dortmund took him in because let's be honest, Aubameyang weren't the best of players prior. He was at Saint Etienne and AC Milan, but no one was really checking for him like that. And you know, they developed, man. I'm not saying it's the same, but you get the point. And for Jovic, he could count himself unlucky because you'd imagine within the next 2-3 years, either or Haaland and Kylian Mbappe go to that club, or Neymar returns to Spain and goes to either Real Madrid or Barca. Again, they're not always playing in the same positions, but only they're all frontmen or in a 4-3-3, they would occupy a position last in the latter stages of the formation out of the striking positions. So he could, you know, fall foul to that. I would take him. I wouldn't mind him. Like I said, he's got youth on his side. He knows how to score goals. I would want him permanently more than alone, because, you know, if he bangs, Real Madrid get him back, or they could potentially sell him at a greater fee. And, you know, if we do have to sell Aubameyang, then I'm not really on it. But in 48 games last season, he bagged 27. So there's something there in the lad. There's clearly something. In relation to Baidu, apparently we're on that case, and he's got 6 assists and 14 goals in 24 appearances in Holland's top flight, people. So make of that what you will. Apparently, keeping up with the Madrid stuff, Zidane, the Express is saying this, and so it might just be nonsense, but Zidane has informed Aubameyang that he's interested in his services this summer. However, he is only Real Madrid's third option. Sadio Mane and Haaland are their top targets, and I mean they're two juicy targets. Haaland, I mean you've been at Dortmund for a second. It'd be quite the profit maker from Dortmund, but you'd imagine Dortmund have unfinished business with him. But you know, Real Madrid, for me, they've got to either get him. You know, they've either got to get a Haaland, a Neymar, and Mbappe, even Raheem Sterling and Jadon Sancho in terms of marketability. And you know, Aubameyang could appeal to them because he's 30. You know, he's in his peak powers. Using for a couple of years, he could, you know, tie you over until you fix up the team and stuff. And you saw Aubameyang kind of, you know, it was light-hearted banter with Kevin Prince Boateng on Instagram. He's playing a bit coy. He's got a difficult decision to make for Aubameyang. Does he stay here where he's the main man, or does he go to Real Madrid where you're just one of the many players, but you have a better chance of winning trophies? And you know, when your career is done, you don't want to look back and say you didn't play for these clubs. The Daily Mail, people, keeps going with the theme of Carlos Soler to Arsenal, the Valencia man. Still consistent with, apparently they want 36 million. But apparently 2 unnamed clubs are interested, as well as us and Manchester United, people. So there's that one there. See if there's anything else. I don't think there's anything else, but I do. Oh, sorry, people. Apparently, and it's important to remember, Raul Sane and Arsenal put an 18 million option clause in El Nene's deal. But apparently, Besiktas want clarity over Mohamed El Nene's contract should the season not be completed by June 30th. They would like a grace period after June the 30th to utilise the player if the season isn't completed. And this is where it's going to get a bit sticky, people, because, you know, and it's in the same way we probably did that for Ceballos and said, yo, we've got to do stuff. We probably have to extend that to El Nene. But in what capacity, people? And what do they mean by grace period? If, you know, their season gets ahead and, you know, they want him for their season, then by all means we have to fulfill our agreement for El Nene to stay there. But if they want a grace period while they reassess their team for whatever reason, that, you know, I'm not trying to hear that, because El Nene is one of the first players that should be out of this club, people. God knows why he signed a contract to. I say that, it's nothing to do with him. The club were doing dumb shit, people. Apologies for my language, my French. It's a madness. Lastly though, people, you know, Paul Merson has said some good stuff and says some crazy stuff at times. But he said in relation to Declan Rice, he said we should go for Declan Rice. He said we're crying out for him, people, and obviously he can play as a centre-half. He said they don't need a midfielder who's going to be on the edge of the opposition box. They need a disciplined defensive midfielder who's going to sit in front of the back four and organise the side, who, when he gets the ball, gives it simple with 10-yard passes. Well, I agree and I disagree. We definitely need someone who's got some ability on the ball and can break lines. Like, look what Bruno Fernandes has done already for Manchester United. We need somebody like that, potentially a deep line playmaker or a cam, but we need players with strengths to break the line. So I disagree. We've got Torreira, but when Torreira's not there, our options in terms of the defensive middle, that steel of sorts in midfield, evidently isn't there. So I fully agree. I like Declan Rice. Admittedly, I don't think right now we should go for him, purely because I like him as a baller. I think he's got great potential. You're seeing City, United and Chelsea linked with him. But You know, it's simply a case of you're looking at probably 50, 60 million, maybe even more, because he's English. And I don't really think, as much as I like him, it's not really like, can we scouts do their job and source a midfielder for cheaper and allow us to invest in other areas? I don't really think it's a must, people. If I had to break the bank for anyone, it would be Jadon Sancho, really. If we can put 100 million on the table, whether we've got to pay you for the next 1,000 years, that would probably be it off the top of my head, or a Maddison or something, people. Wouldn't mind Cantwell, but again, sometimes the English players are not worth the money through no fault of their own. He said they just do the simple things. We've got players who play sideways passes. I get what he means. Players that just do their job. Declan Rice, you know, is warranted in doing that. But we've got players who can play sideways passes. We don't need that anymore. We do need a defensive mid, but we don't just... Yeah, man, I disagree with a lot of the stuff. Moving away from this, people, he did start talking about, you know, he brought comparisons between Makelele and Roy Keane. So I agree, we do need another defensive midfielder. I would like 2 midfielders of sorts, 2 to 3 really, but is that realistic? I don't know. On that note, I'm going to get out of it. People, as usual, deluded. I'm out. Thank you for watching and rocking.